Have you ever experienced a moment when everything in your life seemed to flow effortlessly? When doors opened, opportunities appeared, and solutions manifested in ways that felt almost miraculous? Have you ever wondered why some people seem to live under a constant shower of blessings, while others struggle endlessly despite their best efforts? And if there's actually a way to attract this divine favor into your own life? If this question just stirred something profound in your soul, you're exactly where you need to be, because what I'm about to share will reveal the most powerful secret that Paramhansa Yogananda taught for attracting divine blessings. Ancient wisdom that can transform you from someone who struggles against life into someone who flows with the infinite favor of the universe. You see, most people in the world believe that divine favor is something random, that God arbitrarily chooses to bless some people while leaving others to face hardship and struggle. But the great spiritual master Paramhansa Yogananda revealed something that changes everything about how we understand divine blessings and our ability to attract them. He lovingly taught us, divine blessings are not God's favoritism. They are the natural response of the universe to a consciousness that has learned to align with divine love. Sacred favor flows constantly like sunlight, but just as clouds can block the sun, our own resistance, doubt, and ego can block the flow of blessings. The moment you remove these barriers through spiritual development, divine favor pours into your life, like water through an open channel. If you've ever noticed that when you're in a state of deep gratitude, surrender, and love, beautiful synchronicities and blessings seem to appear naturally in your life, then you already sense this profound truth. Divine favor is not something you have to earn through suffering or prove yourself worthy of. It's your natural birthright that flows freely when you understand how to become spiritually receptive to it. And I promise you, by the end of this sacred journey together, you'll never feel disconnected from divine blessings again. In the next few minutes, I'll walk you through Yogananda's most powerful blessing-attracting techniques. Simple but profound practices that can begin opening the channels of divine favor and gradually transform your entire life experience. But first, let me ask you something that might feel deeply familiar. Have you noticed that your most blessed experiences often happen when you're not desperately trying to force outcomes, but when you're in a state of peaceful trust and openness to whatever the universe wants to bring you? When you're grateful for what you have rather than focused on what you lack. If you're recognizing this spiritual receptivity right now, you're already experiencing what Yogananda called the awakening of divine alignment, where you begin to understand that blessings flow naturally to those who create the right inner conditions. Yogananda explained it beautifully when he gently said, "Sacred favor is not something you attract through begging or bargaining with God. Divine blessings are attracted through becoming the kind of person that favor naturally flows to. Someone who lives in gratitude, serves others with love, surrenders their ego to divine will, and maintains unwavering faith in God's goodness. When you gradually embody these qualities, you become a magnet for divine blessings." Now, you might be wondering how this actually works in practical terms when you're facing real challenges. And here's where it gets truly transformative. According to Yogananda's deepest teachings, there are what he called the 4 sacred channels of divine favor. Specific spiritual qualities that, when cultivated over time, create an irresistible attraction for divine blessings. These are sacred gratitude, divine surrender, selfless service, and unwavering faith. When you consciously develop these qualities through daily practice, you transform from someone who struggles to receive blessings into someone who naturally attracts them. Think about your own experiences with divine favor for a moment. Can you remember a time when you felt deeply grateful and peaceful, and noticed how life seemed to support you in beautiful ways? Or perhaps a time when you let go of trying to control everything and allowed life to unfold, only to discover that things worked out better than you could have planned. Take a moment to really connect with that memory, because what you experienced was your consciousness beginning to align with the flow of divine blessings. This recognition you just felt, it's what Yogananda called the moment of spiritual awakening. Every time you choose gratitude over complaint, surrender over control, service over selfishness, and faith over fear, you open another channel for divine favor to flow into your life. And here's what changes everything. You don't need to wait for perfect circumstances to begin attracting blessings. You can start opening these channels right now through conscious spiritual practice, though the full development takes patience and dedication. Now, I want you to be completely honest with yourself for a moment. When you think about the blessings in your life, do you spend more time focusing on what's missing and what you need God to fix? Or can you sense the abundant divine favor that's already flowing through your life in countless ways? Your answer will reveal how open your blessing channels currently are. If you sensed that abundant favor already flowing, then you're ready for what comes next. Because now, I'm going to share exactly how Yogananda taught people to cultivate the 4 sacred channels of divine favor, gradually transforming their consciousness into a powerful magnet for divine blessings. The first channel he taught was sacred gratitude. Let's practice this together right now. I want you to close your eyes for just a moment and feel, as Yogananda taught, the infinite blessings that surround you in this very moment. Your breath, your heartbeat, your ability to think and feel the love that exists in your life. Now silently say, Divine Love, I am overwhelmed with gratitude for the countless blessings you pour into my life every moment. I open my heart to receive even more of your favor. Did you feel that shift in your energy? That's the first channel of divine favor beginning to open. If you felt even a subtle shift just now, imagine what happens when you practice this daily with patience and devotion. But there's a second channel that Yogananda said was even more powerful. He called it divine surrender, the practice of releasing your ego's need to control outcomes and trusting completely in divine wisdom and timing. Here's how Yogananda taught this life-changing practice. Every morning, place your entire day in God's hands, saying, Divine Love, I surrender my plans, my worries, and my desires to your perfect wisdom. Use me as an instrument of your love, and bring into my life whatever serves my highest good and the good of all. Throughout the day, whenever you feel stressed or worried, immediately return to this surrender, trusting that divine intelligence is orchestrating everything according to perfect timing. Let me share a story that beautifully illustrates this blessing transformation. As I tell you this, I want you to ask yourself, how might my life gradually change if I truly became a magnet for divine favor? There was a devoted student who came to Yogananda in desperation, saying, Master, I've been struggling for years with my business, my health, and my relationships. I pray constantly and try to be good, but it feels like God has forgotten about me. Why do blessings come so easily to others while I have to fight for everything? Yogananda looked at her with infinite compassion and said something that changed her entire understanding of divine favor. My child, God has not forgotten you. You have forgotten how to receive God's blessings. You pray with desperation instead of gratitude. You try to control outcomes instead of surrendering to divine wisdom. You focus on your problems instead of serving others. And you doubt God's love instead of having unwavering faith. Divine favor is like rain. It falls equally on everyone, but only those with open vessels can collect it. He then taught her the 4 sacred channels practice. Every morning, spend time in sacred gratitude, feeling overwhelming appreciation for every blessing in your life. Practice divine surrender, releasing all your plans and worries to God's perfect care. Look for opportunities for selfless service, helping others without expecting anything in return. And maintain unwavering faith, trusting completely that God's love is always working for your highest good, even when you can't see how. Over several months of dedicated practice, something beautiful began to unfold. Her business gradually recovered and eventually flourished beyond her dreams. Her health steadily improved. Her relationships slowly became sources of joy and support. But most importantly, she discovered that the real miracle wasn't the external changes. It was the inner transformation that made her a natural receiver of divine favor. She realized, Master, blessings were always there. I just needed to learn how to open my heart to receive them through patient spiritual development. When I share this story with people, they often ask with wonder, can anyone really become a magnet for divine favor like that? And the answer is absolutely yes. Because divine blessings are not God's favoritism, they're the natural response of divine love to a consciousness that has learned to align with spiritual laws through gratitude, surrender, service, and faith, developed gradually through sincere practice. Now here's what Yogananda wanted everyone to understand at the deepest level. He taught that attracting divine favor is not about convincing God to bless you, but about gradually becoming the kind of person that blessings naturally flow to. As he beautifully said, when you live in constant gratitude, surrender your ego to divine will, serve others with selfless love, and maintain unwavering faith in God's goodness, you become like a flower that naturally attracts the sunshine of divine favor. You don't have to beg for blessings. You become a blessing, and blessings flow to you effortlessly according to divine timing. If you're truly ready to step into this sacred understanding, then make this spiritual commitment right now. I recognize that I am worthy of infinite divine favor. I will cultivate sacred gratitude for all my blessings. I will practice divine surrender, trusting God's perfect wisdom and timing. I will seek opportunities for selfless service. I will maintain unwavering faith in divine love. I open my heart completely to receive the abundant favor that is my birthright, understanding that spiritual development takes patience and dedication. Say it with your whole heart. Divine love is listening and ready to flow into your open consciousness. As Paramhansa Yogananda beautifully reminded us, divine favor is not something you have to earn. It is something you have to learn to receive through spiritual growth. When you understand that you are already beloved of God and worthy of infinite blessings, and when you patiently align your consciousness with gratitude, surrender, service, and faith, you discover that divine favor has been waiting for you all along, ready to transform your life according to perfect divine timing. Before we part ways, I want to leave you with something sacred you can do right now. Take out your phone and write yourself one word that represents your commitment to attracting divine favor. Perhaps gratitude, surrender, or faith. Put it where you'll see it tomorrow morning. This simple act will anchor Yogananda's blessing-attracting wisdom in your daily life and remind you to open your heart to receive the abundant favor that is always flowing toward you. If this message awakened something sacred in your understanding of divine blessings, I'd be deeply honored if you shared it with someone who needs this perspective today. Sometimes we become the vessel through which divine love reaches another soul who feels forgotten or unlucky and needs to remember their worthiness to receive infinite favor. I'd love to know, what was that one word you wrote down about attracting divine favor? Share it in the comments below. Your word might be exactly what someone else needs to begin opening their own channels to receive divine blessings. Until our souls meet again in divine love, may you remember that you are infinitely worthy of divine favor and that blessings are always flowing toward your open heart. Remember, dear soul, you are not forgotten by God. You are beloved beyond measure, and divine favor is your natural birthright. Honor your divine worthiness, patiently cultivate the qualities that attract blessings, and watch as your entire life gradually becomes a reflection of divine favor and blessing. Through understanding divine favor as your birthright rather than something to earn, you discover that abundance, love, and miracles are always flowing toward those who learn to receive them through spiritual development. This is Yogananda's greatest gift, the recognition that you don't have to struggle for divine favor because you are favor, expressing through divine consciousness.